So, welcome to today's deep dive. We've got a fascinating one for you today.
We really do. It's a bit unconventional.
Yeah, completely. Because, okay, what if the best cure for a broken heart or, just a general rut in life wasn't journaling or therapy or like sitting with your feelings,
Right. What if it was actually learning how to optimize an AI workflow?
which sounds completely absurd on the surface. I mean,
Yeah.
we are so conditioned to believe that emotional problems strictly require emotional solutions.
Totally. We're handed this universally accepted playbook when we feel stuck.
Right, exactly. Like whether you're reeling from a bad relationship or you're trapped in a career rut or you just wake up and, I don't know, everything feels a bit gray.
You're supposed to process your
Yeah,
emotions.
you look inward. You talk it out endlessly. You try to untangle the knot from the inside out.
But the source material we're looking at today proposes a radical alternative. It just completely flips that script.
It really does. The premise here is that the answer to feeling stagnant isn't found in looking inward at your pain at all.
No, not at all. It's actually found in accelerating your personal growth outward.
Okay, so unpack that for us because the notes outline this really fascinating shift.
Yeah. So if you look at what genuinely pulls people out of the mud when they are deeply stuck, it often isn't the result of successfully, navigating their emotional state.
Right. It's not about achieving some perfect inner peace.
Exactly. It's usually the sudden, unexpected injection of momentum.
Momentum. Okay.
And right now, according to the author, the most powerful engine for generating that momentum happens to be mastering AI workflows.
Okay, so walk me through the actual mechanics of that, because I'm sure you're wondering, how does learning to prompt an AI actually generate momentum that overrides emotional rut?
Well, think about the daily friction we all face. You have tasks that usually require hours of tedious, draining work, right?
Oh yeah, like summarizing a massive stack of research or organizing a messy data set.
Or drafting a really complex proposal. When you learn how to build an AI workflow, you can optimize those specific tasks to take just tens of minutes.
Wow, so you are fundamentally collapsing the time it takes to do your job.
Precisely. You're collapsing time. And that does something profound to human psychology.
How so?
Because when you collapse time like that, you shift from playing defense to playing
I
offense.
like that. Playing
Yes.
offense.
You are no longer just surviving your day, getting battered by this endless to-do list. You are actively engineering your time.
And that immediate realization of a new capability, that creates a surge of excitement.
Exactly.
So the mission of our deep dive today is to explore exactly how this works for you. We're going to look at how AI removes the traditional barriers to learning.
Right. And how using it to rapidly expand your world causes those insurmountable emotional roadblocks to just naturally shrink by comparison.
So to understand why this is such a game changer, I feel like we first have to examine the baseline, right? Like, why do we stop growing in the first place?
Yeah, what actually causes that stagnant, stuck feeling?
Well, there is this really fascinating observation in the notes about this. It argues that adult paralysis isn't caused by a sudden lack of interest.
Right. We don't just wake up at 35 and decide the world is completely boring.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
The curiosity is still there,
Yeah.
but the courage to act on it is completely gone.
It vanishes. We fall into this incredibly seductive trap of waiting for the perfect conditions.
Oh, the waiting trap. Man, if you are stuck right now, you probably know exactly what this feels like.
Oh, absolutely.
You tell yourself, I'm going to learn Spanish as soon as things settle down at work.
Or I'll finally dive into studying psychology when my schedule clears up.
Right. We treat learning like this fragile thing that requires a completely pristine environment to survive.
And the tragic reality is that the pristine environment never actually arrives.
Never. You wait for the conditions to mature, 1 year passes,
Then 5 years pass.
and you look around, and you are still in the exact same spot.
Carrying the exact same unfulfilled interests, and very likely wrestling with the same emotional ruts.
Because the friction of starting as an adult is just so phenomenally high.
It is. Think about traditional learning.
Like signing up for a class or hiring a tutor.
Yeah, it feels like a high-stakes performance. As adults, our identities are entirely wrapped up in being competent.
Right. We know how to do our jobs. We know how to drive our cars.
And then you walk into a beginner's language class, and suddenly you are at the absolute bottom of the ladder again.
It's humiliating, honestly.
It is, and that vulnerability is exactly what keeps us paralyzed. We are terrified of looking foolish.
Or of asking a fundamental question. Or just being slow to understand something.
Yeah, the ego protects itself by just refusing to participate.
But this is where the AI framework changes the entire landscape.
Yeah.
I look at interacting with AI as this ultimate judgment-free sandbox.
Judgment-free is the perfect way to put it. It's like having a tutor who literally lacks the capacity to be disappointed in you.
Which changes the dynamic completely. It won't roll its eyes if it takes you 12 tries to grasp a basic concept.
It doesn't care if your foundational knowledge is terrible.
It won't mock your starting point. It just sits there completely neutral.
Infinitely patient.
Mm-hmm.
And it will accompany you from absolute zero.
Yes, that infinite patience is the key. It completely bypasses that psychological barrier of adult embarrassment.
The friction of starting goes from a massive, intimidating brick wall to virtually zero.
You no longer have to wait for the perfect conditions.
Because the environment is already perfectly optimized for your current level of incompetence.
Okay, let's make this tangible for the listener. So we have this perfect zero-friction sandbox.
Right.
But what does playing in it actually look like?
Mm-hmm.
Say you are listening right now, you're feeling stagnant, and you want to use this to build some momentum today.
Well, the examples in the material we're reviewing are incredibly varied, and they show exactly how low the barrier to entry is now.
Give me one.
Okay, let's say you've always harbored this secret desire to learn music theory,
Okay.
but the thought of sitting in a room with, like, a 22-year-old piano prodigy makes you want to hide.
Right, because the traditional route is, find a teacher, coordinate schedules, drive across town.
Feel deeply untalented for an hour.
Yeah, and then drive home. It's awful.
Exactly. But the AI route, you sit on your couch, you open an interface, and instantly turn the system into your personal music theory teacher.
Oh, wow. Just like that.
Just like that. You tell it, hey, I know absolutely nothing about music.
Start from scratch.
Exactly. Start with the most basic building blocks. Explain them to me like a beginner and quiz me after each concept.
So you are instantly in motion.
Yes. Or take photography. You don't need to sift through 100 chaotic, contradictory forum posts to figure out what settings to use.
Right, those forums can be brutal for beginners.
They really can. Instead, you simply tell the AI exactly what camera you own, what your neighborhood looks like, and ask it to design a custom 30-day practice plan.
Tailored specifically for your environment.
Exactly.
Okay, but hold on. Let me push back a little here. Isn't asking a chatbot for a list of photography tips just, I don't know, a distraction? Like, that sounds like acquiring a superficial hobby to kill time.
I see what you mean.
It just doesn't sound like a profound architecture for personal growth.
And that is a completely fair critique if we were just talking about passive consumption.
Okay.
If you ask for a list of tips, read it, and close the app, yeah, it's just a distraction. But the deeper realization in this framework is about systematically learning.
Synthesizing and then outputting.
Right. So it's not just absorbing data.
So what does that systematic learning actually look like in practice then?
Let's use the psychology example from the text. Say you want to understand cognitive behavioral psychology.
Okay.
Instead of just reading a Wikipedia article, you use the AI as a structural guide. You prompt it, help me build a comprehensive curriculum for this topic.
Oh, I see. What are the 5 foundational books I need to know?
Exactly. What are the core debates in the field?
So you are forcing it to build the scaffolding for you.
Yes. And then you actively engage with that scaffolding. You ask it to explain a complex theory. And here's the crucial part. You try to explain it back to the AI in your own words.
To test yourself.
Right. You ask it to correct your misunderstandings. Then you take those synthesized insights and you share them.
You write a post or you make a video.
Or you just discuss it with a friend. You are creating a feedback loop.
That makes total sense. When you share that content, you create resonance with other people.
Exactly. That proves you aren't just isolating yourself in a dark room with a chatbot. You are using the AI as an engine to build a knowledge system.
Which you then use to re-engage with the world.
Yes. You are actively constructing something.
Okay, I really like that.
Right.
You are taking the raw material the AI provides, and you are building your own architecture with it.
Exactly.
And, there's a specific insight in these notes that I find absolutely fascinating. It's about what happens when you start digging deep into the mechanics of how to prompt these systems.
Oh, the realization about what is actually powering these interactions.
Right, because you would think that to master cutting-edge, futuristic AI,
Yeah.
you need to learn some alien, highly technical logic.
But the reality is that behind the most advanced AI models are the most foundational human thinking methods.
It is such a brilliant realization. The technology is new, but the logic is ancient.
It really is. And the material highlights a very specific practical example of this. When you move past basic questions, you start learning advanced prompting techniques.
Right.
And one of the most powerful is the method of letting the AI refute itself.
Okay, walk me through exactly how that works in real time. Give me a concrete example.
Let's go back to the photography plan. You ask the AI to build you a 30-day curriculum for learning landscape photography.
Okay.
It spits out a beautiful, comprehensive schedule. A beginner just says thanks and stops there.
But the advanced user pushes it further.
Exactly. Your next prompt is, okay, now look at this 30-day plan you just created. Tell me exactly why this plan will fail for someone who only have 15 minutes of free time a day,
Oh, wow.
and then rewrite it to fix those flaws.
So you are forcing the machine to aggressively pressure test its own output.
Yes, you are demanding that it finds its own blind spots. And when you learn to do this, it immediately triggers a connection to classical human frameworks.
Right, because the notes mention how this specific prompting technique instantly mirrors the concepts found in classic books on critical thinking.
Like that book, Asking the Right Questions.
Yes, that is such a fascinating connection. Because the cultural narrative right now is that AI is going to make human thinking obsolete.
Right, like why learn to think critically when the machine can just give you the answer?
Exactly. But this framework suggests the exact opposite. The skills we thought might become obsolete, our ability to question, to analyze, to demand evidence, are actually the steering wheel and the pedals for the machine.
They are the exact skills you need to pilot these systems effectively. If you lack critical thinking, you will just accept the AI's first potentially flawed answer.
So true. The advent of AI didn't erase the need for human logic at all.
No, it resurrected these foundational skills and made them more valuable than ever.
And experiencing that sudden sparking connection between disparate pieces of knowledge, realizing that an advanced tech workflow is just classical philosophy in disguise.
It's amazing.
That is what creates this incredible sense of sheer excitement. You are waking your brain back up.
It is the joy of synthesis. You are physically feeling your brain build new neural pathways.
Connecting the ancient with the avant-garde.
Right. And that feeling of active, engaged synthesis is the exact opposite of emotional paralysis.
Which brings us right back to the central question we started with today.
Yeah, the feeling of being stuck.
Exactly. We began by talking about being trapped in a relationship you can't move past, or a negative emotional loop that just drains your energy.
Right.
We've talked about AI music teachers and prompt engineering and critical thinking. But how does learning to prompt an AI about photography actually heal the pain of a breakup?
This is where the core, deeply counterintuitive advice of this framework really comes into play.
Okay, lay it on us.
If you are trapped in a situation that has you completely boxed in emotionally, the absolute worst thing you can do is go research, how to quickly get over a breakup.
Or like how to fix my life.
Exactly.
Which is, of course, our default instinct. We go down that late-night rabbit hole of trying to directly attack the specific pain point.
And by directly attacking it, we just end up hyper-fixating on it. We ruminate.
We give the pain all of our attention.
Which only feeds it. The alternative presented here is to aggressively pivot.
Yeah.
You must find a field that reignites your curiosity.
Something you always wanted to do but never started.
Yes, and begin building your knowledge system today.
But wait, what if you were legitimately exhausted? Like if you were going through emotional turmoil, your bandwidth is practically zero.
That's a very real concern.
Yeah, how are you supposed to launch into a new curriculum when you barely have the energy to make dinner?
Well, the metric provided in the material is incredibly specific and forgiving. It's 10 minutes.
10 minutes. That is all it takes to start.
Just 10 minutes a day. The imperative is simply that you do not wait. You don't wait for your heart to be fully healed.
You don't wait for a weekend when you have perfectly clear hours.
Right. You open the interface today, and you spend 10 minutes asking the AI to explain one new concept to you.
Because it's not about mastering the subject in a day. It's about breaking the static friction of your life.
Exactly. It's about proving to your own nervous system that forward motion is still possible.
Wow. And that leads to the philosophical climax of this entire approach, doesn't it?
It does. It explains precisely why this works to heal emotional pain. As you use AI to bypass that initial friction, and as you dedicate those daily 10 minutes, your world rapidly begins to expand.
You are flooding your internal system with entirely new inputs.
Yes. New knowledge appears. You develop new skills. Because you are sharing what you learn, new friends and new connections start to form.
Completely new experiences flood into your daily routine.
And as the boundaries of your life push outwards, something deeply magical happens to the pain you were obsessing over.
Now, I really appreciate that this framework doesn't claim the pain just magically disappears, because that would be a fairy tale.
Oh, yeah, no, it's incredibly grounded. Those feelings you thought you couldn't survive, the heartbreak, the frustration of the career rut,
The deep feeling of being stuck.
they don't vanish into thin air. They still exist.
But their impact changes based on the scale of your life.
Right.
It's like, okay, if you have an incredibly ugly, massive piece of furniture in a tiny studio apartment, it ruins the entire room.
You can't ignore it. You keep stubbing your toe on it.
Exactly. It dictates how you move through the space.
But if you take that exact same ugly piece of furniture and you move it into a sprawling 50-room mansion.
it doesn't vanish.
Yeah,
It is still just as ugly.
right. But suddenly, it's just one minor detail in a dusty corner room on the 3rd floor.
You barely even notice it anymore. The furniture didn't change at all, but the architecture around it expanded so massively that the problem shrunk by comparison.
That perfectly captures the mechanics of this framework. By choosing explosive personal growth over endless emotional rumination, you are systematically building the mansion.
You are actively expanding your architecture.
And by doing so, you dilute the emotional pain with curiosity and forward momentum.
What a profound way to approach a rut. We typically try to shrink our problems by analyzing them to death. This suggests we should just outgrow them.
Exactly.
We looked at how adulthood traps us in this cycle of waiting for perfect conditions because we're afraid of looking foolish. But the AI era offers us this brilliant zero-friction sandbox.
Where we can start from absolute zero without an ounce of judgment.
And we explored how that sandbox isn't meant for passive scrolling. It is a tool for building structured knowledge.
For red teaming your own ideas through critical thinking.
Right, and for creating a dynamic feedback loop that reconnects you with the world. Expanding your world really is the most effective cure for feeling stuck.
It truly is. When you systematically flood your life with new skills and new connections, those old heavy problems naturally retreat to their proper manageable size.
Which leaves us with one final, incredibly provocative thought to consider for you listening today.
Yeah, we discussed how advanced prompting techniques like letting the system refute its own answers are essentially just applied human critical thinking.
Right.
If the secret to unlocking the most powerful technology in the world is actually just utilizing deep classical analytical skills, then it raises a fascinating possibility about the real purpose of these tools.
What do you mean by that?
Well, perhaps the ultimate value of AI isn't the fact that it can give us the right answers instantly.
Oh, okay.
Perhaps by constantly forcing us to refine our prompts, to aggressively question the outputs, and to logically build these new knowledge systems from the ground up, AI is actually serving as a mirror.
Wow. A mirror.
Yeah, it might be the ultimate cognitive training ground. The real product isn't the AI's output, it's the fact that the process is subtly training us to be sharper
More inquisitive.
and more resilient thinkers in our daily lives, far away from the keyboard.
It's not a replacement for human thought at all. It's like
Yeah.
a resistance gym for the human mind.
Exactly.
That is an incredible lens to view this through. So if you are listening to this right now and you are feeling even the slightest bit stagnant, I warmly invite you to take the 10-minute challenge today.
Yeah, absolutely do it.
Pick just one topic you've been putting off, something you've been waiting for the perfect time to learn. Open up an AI, enter that judgment-free sandbox, and just ask it to explain the basics.
Stop ruminating on the ugly furniture.
Yes, and start building the mansion. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will catch you on the next Deep Dive.